My family would rather me die off my horse than to fail off my horse. You know, look at Psalms 68, verse 5. One of the ways that God begins to explain himself is he says, I am a father to the fatherless, a judge of the widows, is God in his only or holy habitation. We live in a world where men are leading their lives out of the challenges and the bleeding of what has been on the inside that they have never allowed to come outside. They are bleeding because of things that they did not get or they did not accomplish or did not happen. And they are literally struggling in a lot of ways with things that they would never articulate to you. Men are not like women. Women, y'all will get together and tell your deepest secrets and your deepest things to each other. You will share that with no problem. Girl, I'm struggling with this. Men do not do that. When we get together, we talk about guns, sports, cars. Are you with me? Because we have been taught that big boys don't cry. And it's unfortunate because we live in a society. A man said this one time. When he said it, it hit me right in my spirit. He said, my family would rather me die off my horse than to fail off my horse. In other words, his family would rather see him die than to watch him fail. And see, if you're not a man, ladies, I'm giving you some insight into some places, because every man in here has had to go through the bleeding and the wounding that has happened that he has never said a word about because he has been deemed as weak if he does. So he has to wear his armor all the time. Even a soldier gets to put his armor down and relax. But as a man, we are taught, it is inbred in us that you wear your armor all the time. You sleep with it, you walk with it, you breathe with it, you live with it, you eat with it, you die with it. And we carry the weight of it all the time. Men are like windshields. You don't miss your windshield until you don't have one. You don't think anything of your windshield. You get in your car and you drive, all the bugs that hit it, do you realize they'd be in your teeth? And men bear burden that often we are unable to express. Sometimes because we don't have the words. We don't know how. Sometimes we know how, but we won't. And let me explain this to you, ladies. If a man ever reveals his true vulnerability to you, if he ever really, truly opens up and reveals his vulnerability to you, and you use it as a weapon, he'll never talk to you about it again. You will be deemed as an enemy, and he'll never open his mouth again. Because, see, again, y'all share with each other. Y'all will have these conversations about your vulnerabilities and your struggles and your problems, and y'all can get up, walk away, and think nothing of it. For a man to get to the place where he's gotten the ability and become able to say, these are my deepest and darkest things, this is where I struggle, to reveal that wound, to have you not recognize the moment in which he's revealed a wound to you, and to drive the knife deeper instead of to bring medicine and to bring help. You are created to be a rib. God took Adam's rib out of him and gave it to you. Your job is to protect. And if you would protect him, he will open himself up completely because he has guts. He just doesn't want to expose them. And so then you have women who are running around searching because they've had no father. Searching because they've had no, and we call it, she's got, oh, you've heard it. It is absolutely imperative that in a home, I have seen boys who are raised by women only. And particularly if he's in a house with all women. And they begin to take on effeminate characteristics Because a woman cannot teach a man how to be a man. And I don't care if you don't like what I'm saying. Look, hats off to all the single ladies that had to be mother and father. Hats off to you. I have nothing but respect and love for you. But you cannot teach a man how to be a man. Just like a man can't teach a woman how to be. I've seen girls that are raised by just single dads, and they rough. You'd be like, why are you mad though? They have taken on the characteristics because of who they were. So now you've got people struggling with their sexuality, not because, in quote unquote, they were made that way, but because of how the influences have been in their life. Little boys thinking they're supposed to play with dolls and stuff. My wife is very different than me. My son is a year and was it 6 months, 5 months, 6 months, 5 months, 4 months, 15 months. There you go. 45. Sold, man with braiding his hair. So he'll go to slide off the bed, and we've taught him to turn around and go down. But if she sees him going the wrong way, she's running. Me, I'm like, he ain't gonna do it, but maybe once, maybe twice. Because I ain't raising no punk. She's different. I need him to be bulletproof. He's going to come up in a world where ain't nobody going to be there to catch him when he falls. He's got to learn that it's going to be a rough and tough life. There are things you want to fight your way out of. And we can't deal with people who are weak and have no idea that a man is a man. And there's nothing wrong with it. There is no such thing as toxic masculinity. There is nothing wrong with being a man. We were made that way. The problem is we have learned to defend our houses, but not defend our hearts. We have learned to bow up and say what we'll do to somebody if you mess with my family, but yet you did not protect your heart. This is why the trauma of abandonment always turns into the temperament of your adulthood. It frames and shapes life. If you have a woman who grew up without a father, you can tell. You can tell that she's always yearning for something that would bring blessing to her life. And the truth of the matter is, she will find it anywhere she can. Yeah. And there's some dads, well, I was present. Yeah, you were present, but you were not available. Well, I was working too hard. Well, then have you ever thought that it wasn't about the money? Have you ever thought that your legacy might be tied up in your children? Have you ever thought while you were chasing businesses and this, that, and the third, that your true legacy wasn't in you? Can you imagine how David felt when David said, God, I'll raise the money for the temple. No, I'll build the temple. And God said, no, you will not build the temple. He said, can I raise money for it? He said, yeah, you can do that. But I'm not letting you build it. Your son is going to build it. What happens when your legacy is tied up in the fruit of your loins and you are so adamant about getting for yourself, having never thought that your children are requiring you to be obedient to the purpose and call of God? Dad, there's greatness in you. Don't let nobody tell you otherwise.